Hey everyone, welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and I'm so excited about this video because we're going to be talking about the Canucks top 10 all-time enforcers, fighters, goons, enforcers, whatever you want to call it. I have been loving doing this series. We'll be talking about that. I have done, so we're going to be doing this video tonight, top 10 Canuck enforcers. Also, if you've followed me, I've done the top 10 all-time Canucks, or actually not top 10, all-time Canucks, as well as top 10 Canucks defense, top 10 goalies. That was a real fun one. And of course, top 10 forwards. Let's go, everyone. This is going to be a fun night. Plus, I have a very, very special guest I am pumped to connect with you about. Let's hit the promo. We're going to get right into it. Top 10 enforcers, baby. Let's go. So glad you're here, everyone. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it because I love making Canucks content that is passionate, realistic, and honest. If you like that kind of content, smash the like and subscribe. Now, I want to introduce you to one of my favorite guests of all time, someone I know really well, and maybe you've seen him in the comments as Donnie Diamonds. Donnie Diamonds is here.
Yeah.
Someone I know very well. Big Ben is in the building. So, Ben, this is your second time, isn't it, on the show?
You betcha. Yeah. Was it Christmas there?
Yeah, Christmas. I think we did it together.
Yeah, and I have my Lindros jersey on there.
Yeah, our family is obsessed with Lindros. We've all got jerseys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should have wore my Probert jersey, but hey.
Oh, I was thinking that's what you're going to do, but it is a Canucks channel, so maybe we can agree that we probably believe that Probert was the greatest fighter of all time. Fun to watch. I mean, we're glad we grew up in that era watching such a great guy. But we're going to be talking about Bob Probert in just a minute. But I noticed the shirt you're wearing right now is perfect for this show, Rocky 2. Let's go. Where'd you get that from?
The Rocky website. Yeah, old Sly Stallone, he sells his merchandise. It's good. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know he sells his own stuff. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to dive into the top 10 all-time enforcers. I was talking to Ben on the phone. I said, I need some advice. Here's my list. What do you think? And the way he was rattling off information about these players, I was like, you know what? We need to do this together. So I'm excited, Ben, to have you here. And I know that I've gone live early tonight for a lot of people, but we're just trying to make sure our schedules work. Also, we just love to talk about the Canucks, so it's a lot of fun. And so we're going to start with an honorable mention, okay? An honorable mention. And because there's the thing about, actually, before we go into honorable mention, there's some interesting stats, Ben, that you might find very interesting, that the team fight stats. Guess which team we have fought more against than any other team in the NHL?
Calgary Flames.
Calgary Flames, number one. I cannot stand the Flames. They're the worst, right? That's why I'm a Calgary Flames hater. Okay, so just anytime I get to trash them, but we have fought them the most, 218. Guess the second team. 3 fights behind. 218, 215. Who's the second highest team that we've gotten in fights with?
The Oilers.
No, good guess.
Yeah.
In the Pacific Division.
LA Kings.
LA Kings. Boom. Nailed it. So 215. Number 3 is the Edmonton Oilers at 180. Chicago Blackhawks is number 4. That one was a little surprising to me with 150 fights. And then Winnipeg Jets rounded out at 139. Yeah. Very, very surprising to me. That's what it was like, right? So
Yeah.
that's just interesting stuff.
Well, it goes to show you how many times you fought back in the day against the Winnipeg Jets, I guess, eh?
Exactly. They would have been in the Western Conference, but they weren't in our division, I don't think. Or were they in the Eastern Conference back in those days?
Yeah, they were in a messed up division, I think.
Yeah. So here's the other interesting news. The most fights of an individual player that was not on a Canucks team, number one was Tim Hunter. We fought Tim Hunter 19 times. We fought Kelly Buckberger 18 times, Ty Domi 18 times, Jeff Odgers 17, Matt Johnson 16, Marty McSorley makes the list at 14, number 7. And what's a weird stat is we also fought Tiger Williams, who was on our team 14 times.
Yeah, well, he played for the Leafs for so long, right?
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
And then he was an LA King.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So he was number 9 on the list. So we fought our own teammate, our own.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so I find this so fascinating, so interesting. I wanted to share a couple of those things that most people don't know. By the way, I want to give a big shout out to hockeyfights.com, the greatest hockey fights website on the internet in the world. For those stats and some help on some more stats I'm going to share. Okay, Ben, we're going to dive right into the first one. And this is one that might surprise. And I'm going to do an honorable mention because when it comes to Canucks fighters, there's like about 4 real famous ones. And then the rest, it's like kind of, it's by discretion. And we're going to take some liberties with this list. And so there's just my list. Ben is just going to be commentating on some of these players, but my honorable mention, Ben, and I know this one kind of surprised you a bit, was, and by the way, I'm blocking out your face there, Sean Antoski. Do you remember getting this hockey card back in the day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's, I still have that set. It's buried underneath my bed. Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why I put him as an honorable mention, as most people believe, don't realize that he was just really overshadowed by Gino Ojek as the main enforcer with his time during Vancouver. But Antoski's 22 regular season fights with the Canucks were against heavyweights. And that's why I wanted to put him in the conversation, because he was a 6'4", 235-pound guy, and he could throw the right hand fast and hard. And he was a guy that was tough. He was tough as nails, right? Tough as nails. And so any memories of him, I just remember him just going toe-to-toe with the big boys, and whether he won or lost, but he was a big boy himself. Any memories of him at all?
Not at all. What is hockey fight stats on him?
That's a great
I wonder question. How many. And the interesting thing about that hockey fights, you have to go into each season, and they even have their WHL and AHL fights and stuff on some of them. And you're like, geez, just see how many times they fought, It's crazy. And then their preseason, their playoff fights, and all that stuff too.
Yeah, on this one, I found it a little hard to find his information, to be honest with you. He didn't make the top 10 of the most fights as a Canuck, so it's hard to find information, but I could probably research it. We just don't have the time. But so we'll dive in. He fought the big boys, though, so that's good. So that's our honorable mention. I mean, you can have Scott Walker on that list. You can have Wade Bookbank on that list as an honorable mention as well. But I wanted to stick with him there. So let's dive in to the top 10 now. And the 10th one is someone that a lot of people are going to be surprised, but the 10th is Garth Butcher. And do you know why he's number 10 on this list? I wasn't even going to put him on the list, but you know why he's number 10?
Just because he was fighting in the old school days and probably fought a lot.
He fought a ton. He was the second highest fighter for Canucks history. He had 94 fights. Jeez. And so the problem is when you actually click on it and see who he fought, we're talking about Ian LaPerriere, one of the Sutter brothers. You're talking about Bill Guerin, like people like that, right? And so when you're looking at those names, they're not the big boys. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I want to respect that he got 94 fights, but I also want to say you didn't really, fight the big boys. Okay. Now we're going to go into names that people are going to recognize big time as Vancouver Canucks fans. Number 9, and I know you have a lot of information on this guy, Kevin Beachz. Kevin Beachz. What is it about Kevin Beachz when he was enforcing and fighting that impressed you?
Just from a boxing standpoint, I think the best thing is he's one of the best fighters that the Canucks have had for skill wise. So I just watched it yesterday, 4 Superman punches by Beachz. 2 of them, he dropped the guy with 1 punch. Wow. And they were big boys. Like, what's that guy's name? Radek Gudez or whatever his name is? Yeah, dropped him. And that one, I think, was what hit the news. But I think he's the first person to do it. And that was George St. Pierre's move. And then, obviously, Brian Burke hired him full-time as a Canuck there because he beat up Fedorov in the outside. Okay. And then he fought a lot in the AHL and then coming up and stuff. And then in his later years, he wasn't fighting as much because he was an asset defenseman. You don't want in the penalty box. So he would pick and choose his fights, but when he would usually win. And he was a good fighter, and he strategically fought, and it was awesome. And he was one of my favorite players for a while because of that. He's a good player, and he's the best fighter. So it's like him and Cassian were out there. Cassian's crazy, and Beachz had those crazy guys too, though, like Adam Foote, and he just snaps, and you're like, oh, here we go. Beachz is going to hurt someone. So
absolutely.
And then who was Beachz's memorable fights there? Remember in the playoffs with Michael Furlan when Furlan was coming up?
Oh, man. And Furlan was a wrecking ball against us. So it was good that he stepped up. And even if he lost the fight, he was still man enough to just go after him. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is for me, Ben, is when it comes to Kevin Beachz, it was just his style. And you saw that he had the boxing pedigree, like literally was a boxer. I don't know if he was a Golden Gloves guy or anything like that, but I mean, he learned how to fight, and he was just absolutely incredible to watch. And so you could just tell he's an actual boxer or had been trained boxing somehow, right? So did you notice that as well?
Yeah, it's keeps his eyes on the guy, and then he sits back and he starts picking his shots and doesn't put his head down, doesn't flinch a lot. He actually controls the fight on guys, and he picks and chooses where his shots go and really land. He's good.
Totally.
My opinion, one of the best Canucks skilled fighters.
Absolutely.
And it's ironic him and Rippon were buddies,
Right. Yeah.
So
and I mean, they probably learned from each other and gave each other tips on how to do all this stuff. And, speaking of which, we're going to get to Rick Rippon in a moment. Let's move into number 8. And some people might think this is really controversial. Maybe I have him too low, but we're going to go to Craig Cox. And that is an awesome picture.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a picture. I'm like, whoa, if this is like an all-time Canucks enforcer list, like, look at that's the picture that you want, right? Now the Rick Rippon one might be even better, but but that's pretty good. So one of the things is why I wanted him in the top 10 list is because he literally with his fight with Bob Probert, in fact, he had at least 2 or 3 fights with Bob Probert. His style was just like throw haymakers, right? And but that one fight with Probert would definitely be in the top 10 best fights in the NHL history. I remember when we were buying those Don Cherry Rock'em Sock'em, and he had that fight in one of the videos, and it's like, oh my goodness, like it was like, what? Oh, it's like, how many shots to the face did they both take? And any thoughts about Craig Cox and his wild style?
Yeah, his fights, like specifically that one, could be compared to like Don Fry's with that one big Asian guy he fought there. Remember that? When they were just sitting there trading punches. But believe it or not, Bob Probert's first fight in the NHL was against Craig Cox, from what my understanding. And then and that one, they hockeyfights.com said that and the one that you're referring to, that was on Rock'em Sock'em, were the two top slugfests of all time. So, but how many guys enforcers did he fight? You know, he could have been fighting in the greatest era of the enforcer goon type, you know, the whole Bob Probert days. So, like, I don't know, like, how many times he fought different guys there. Jeez, like, kind of like
and fighting Probert 3 times, the greatest, and even though it was his very first fight, but like, he didn't believe in defense. It was just like all offense when it came to like throwing the fists, and he didn't care that he got punched. He was like trying to land a big one himself.
Yeah.
The amount of big punches he landed on Probert was insane. And so, I mean, if you don't have him on this list, you did not watch hockey, or hockey fights, right? So, I you know, more I think about it, I'm like, man, maybe I should have put him up higher, but there's a lot of fights.
It's too tough to say that it goes back and forth. There's arguments going to be made for like that for a lot of guys. That's how you know, that's why Craig Cox deserves to be on the list. Could be top 5, no problem. But one of the cool things about watching Craig Cox fight is, and specifically seeing the Probert fight, they sit back, right, two-handed, and they're doing, you know, this and blah, 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 and then they start going. Instead of grabbing onto the jersey one punching, they're letting both fists fly. And then if the other guy's doing that to him, he's letting both fists fly. And Probert did that, right? And Probert had him with punching with one, but Craig Cox is using both hands, and he sucked Probert into that fight too. And that was kind of worked for him for a bit. Yeah, he's definitely, you know, a bit awkward and not skilled in stand-up and some of that stuff, but he's probably fought so many times. It's his own style. And it's like Reggie Miller shot, you know, it works. And so,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing some NBA reference there. That's awesome. Okay. I thought you were into the Vancouver Grizzlies, but, you know, Gus Edwards. I'm joking.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so number 7 is one that everyone's going to have on their list, and gone too early in life, but an incredible enforcer. Small guy, Ben. Rick Rippon, just 5'11", 194 pounds, but played with a lot of heart and fought with a lot of vigor. That guy was unbelievable, and he took on anybody, and I mean anybody. So, any thoughts about Rick Rippon? I know you've got some good ones on him here.
Yeah, I put him higher on the list for sure, and I think I think he's the most talented pound for pound fighter that the Canucks have ever had. You can have the conversation. He's the most talented pound for pound fighter the NHL has ever seen too. He's definitely the best boxer, I think, for a hockey player. And so hence why I don't think he has weaknesses when he fights. And so guys, you know, you do not want to get into a Brashear fight with Brashear. He grabs onto you and then he starts doing his thing. But Rippon, you know, though he's not a true super heavyweight, he's like like Manny Pacquiao or Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker, like some of those small guys in boxing. So they're he's two-handed. He doesn't. That was a cool thing. He didn't have to grab onto some guy and just uses both hands. And you know, it was good to be a Canucks fan at that time. I remember talking about him with friends during his prime, and we would always talk about his defense while he was fighting, and he put his hand up. Remember, you guys are trying to punch him, and he's sitting there, and you're like, oh, and you would never see things like that before in a hockey fight. And Rick Rippon introduced that skill level to a hockey fight. So.
And actually, that's a real important position because there's two things about him. Like, first, he was a southpaw, right? And you have a major advantage when you're in that southpaw position. But you're right, the blocking. I don't think I've seen anyone block like Rick Rippon ever. I don't think I see anyone doing it.
Well, you have, but they've been getting beaten on.
Oh, right.
Rick,
They're turtling, right?
Yeah, exactly. Rippon would do that, and then boom, and then he punch back, right? And he's watching, and he's fighting. It's such a good fighter.
And truth be told, you've had some boxing career moments as well, so you understand training, you understand getting in a real ring with a real opponent. And when you saw Rick Rippon doing that, and then jabbing or big left hook or even right hook, because he could throw with his right and his left. No wonder he impressed you so much. Again, probably a big fail that I have him at number 7 here. We probably should have debated this a little bit more before we went.
It's hard to come up with and get it. It's debatable for a lot of guys. So that's good because Canucks, baby, we got a good top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to make some tough decisions, top 10s. Okay, speaking of tough decision, and a lot of people don't remember, but it's not just because he has a great mustache, but Harold Snepsts is number 6 on my list. And the thing about Snepsts, he's number 5 on most fights ever by a Canuck, 55. But he was clearly a tough dude. I've seen him on all-time Canucks enforcer lists as number 4. And, he was 6'3", 215 pounds. He threw some big haymakers against some pretty good opponents. Any thoughts on Snepsts? I know that it's like 70s and 80s. Yeah. It's hard for a lot of people who weren't around during that time. But he was one tough customer, right? Like, as a guy you did not want to mess with. He went and hit the goalie, and then all of a sudden you're gonna get a fistful, whether it's with a glove or without a glove, right?
Yeah. Oh, the play back then. My memories of Snepsts is basically when he was past his prime and had the bald spot. And he was the guy on the team, and you'd look at the hockey card, and that's where it's like 22 seasons already or something. You're like, oh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't realize until you watch the old highlights, right? And then you see him on the list, and you're like, oh, Snepsts, what the heck? And then you go back and well, that, to be honest, that's right when I started watching hockey, was when he was on his way out.
Yeah.
And so you probably watch more of him than I did.
Yeah,
I didn't. So, but yeah.
All right.
I don't deny what happened.
Yeah. Number 5, a guy that some people don't really understand. His name is Kurt Frazier. That is a boxing name right there. Frazier. Right. And so, do you know the big memories of Kurt Frazier? Why he's famous as a fighter for the Vancouver Canucks?
No clue what's going on.
He one-punch guys. You can literally go on YouTube and watch him. He just knocks out. I can't remember what the guy's name was. A Leafs fan, or not Leafs fan. Leafs fan. Sorry, Leafs. I mean, a Leafs player. Just one punch. I'm like, you know what? If you can one punch a guy, that you got to be in the top 5. Yeah, let's do this. So you can literally Google it and see it, and just what Kurt Frazier one punch. It is awesome. And he just like knocks the guy out, like literally knees buckled down on the count. And some other interesting information about Kurt Frazier is that he could match the fighting skills, and like not very many people could match the fighting skills and his power. So he had 53 fights with the Canucks, and he also got into a fight in the hallways outside the locker room with Chris Nyland one night. Nice. So he was a beast, man. He was an absolute beast. And so I'm like, you know what? If you're getting in the fight in the parking lot, in the hallway, No fighting in the parking lot, everyone. Just in the hallway and just on the ice, okay? So that's why I put Kurt Fraser at number 5. So, Ben, that leads us to number 4. I know this guy is a guy you like a lot, Darcy Hordichek. Let me know why is it that he should be on this list, and what were some memories of him?
My memories of him was he was at the I think he was like one of our last goons that we got rid of before we went on our Stanley Cup run and stuff. And yeah, he was of the last goon there, and he fought everybody. Look at the George Peros there. I think he was at minimum. He fought him 14 times.
Crazy.
Like, remember I sent you those. You can take a look at how many times he fought guys there.
Yep.
Yeah. So he just fought them all, and he was definitely in the era of the super heavyweights. So like him and Rippon, obviously he's bigger than Rippon, but there was times when he fought Bugard when Rippon, I think Rippon fought him once, but he would jump on Bugard and he'd fight. In fact, he fought him like 4 times in his career. Like, who's fighting Bugard? And he picked a fight with Bugard and grabbed him first and started throwing. He was like, "Whew, here we go." But he was crazy because he would know sometimes like some of these guys were like, where his head, he just put his head right into the guy's chest, try and take away his punching range because he's undersized by some of these superhumans. And then he just start throwing pretty close in, and sometimes he was winning because he was such a gladiator, right? So, and he fought them all.
Yeah, and I think that's important to know because, and what you sent me today about the different guys he fought. So let me just use what you sent me. So he fought Sean Thornton 4 times, George Peros, like you said, 14 times, Ryan Reeves twice, Biz Nasty 3 times, Barnaby 4 times. He fought Chara. He fought Sandy McCarthy. That guy was a beast. Chris Simon 3 times, Probert twice, LaRock 3 times. You know what I mean? Like he and I don't know if those are all during as a Canuck, but McCarty, Darren McCarty, like you said, Bugard 3 times, McCarty twice, Chris Neal a bunch of times, Wade Belak, Brian McGrattan. I mean, this guy had a fighting pedigree in his career. And so how many of those he got with the Vancouver Canucks? We know I mean, right here, you can see he fought Peros a few times. So, Peros was way bigger of a man. Like size wise, you're like, what are you doing? And then he put his head down and then the big shots over top. And that was like, so that's why I have him so high in this list. So I don't know if people want to argue that one. That's going to be a tough one to argue. It's just that he only played 3 seasons for us. And so that's one of the reasons why they might not have him as high as I do. Any other thoughts on Darcy Hordichek?
No, I think he deserves to be high. I went and refreshed my memory and watched some of the fights that he won against some of the goons and tough enforcers. He was a good scrapper. He came in hot and heavy, and he was a very aggressive fighter. He was good. I liked him.
Totally. Okay, so now the top 3 are probably the most obvious for the Vancouver Canucks fans. Everyone's been posting these guys in the comments as we've been sitting there. And so we're going to go with the one that's probably the most sold Canucks jersey. That's an enforcer. Maybe I would think it's the most Canucks sold jersey. It is the famous Tiger Williams. Listen, if your name is Tiger and you're a fighter like that, you should be in the top 3. So here's the thing about Tiger Williams. He was 4th all time in Canuck fights with 65. And then, like we said, he also fought the Canucks 14 times. So what was your thoughts about Tiger Williams back in the day, Ben?
He was actually, I met him at the West Edmonton Mall when I was a kid. He got an autograph from his hockey card. It was a Leafs hockey card. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Cool. Yeah. Mom took me. And I think he's got the reputation as being on the list for a lot of NHL enforcer all-time lists. So everybody will say, not everybody, but there's a lot that will say he's number one for Canucks too. Any guy that has the most penalty minutes in the history of the NHL probably has a good argument. So now you're getting into the top three, and you're going to be able to argue guys can go number one. He's definitely one of those guys. But he comes from the era of everybody's fighting, and he's kind of like Terry O'Reilly crazy, right? Those guys just, they're a wrath, and they're getting in brawls. Like these are the guys that are fighting multiple times a night, getting in line brawls, full-on brawls. So it's just insane. And so he was I spent some time watching his highlights today.
Yeah, because he did fight, like you said, Terry O'Reilly, Chris Nyland, Dave Semenko, Tim Hunter, several other different fighters, right? So I don't know if he fought all the heavyweights, but he
was probably before, like he was before Probert and those guys, right?
Totally.
Like, he was fighting the top guys.
Well, sure. Chris Nyland is as tough as nails, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, like Nyland's for him and Nyland is a good matchup. And then imagine fighting Semenko and him. Oh, geez, that's a matchup. So yeah, some tough guys.
Okay, so that leads to our top two, and I think that everyone on their list is going to put Gino number one, but I put Gino number two, and there's a reason for it. I love Gino Ojek. He's one of my favorite Canucks of all time. I remember clearly when we were watching him, and he went after the whole St. Louis Blues. He just literally, and he would always rip off his jersey, and then he was in his blue under hockey shirt, and then he was going crazy, and he just, he was the enforcer for the Bure era, just the guy you needed on the team, and did whatever. And then when he scored a goal, it was like he had won the lottery. He was just a blast to watch. Any great memories of who I have number two? Gino, you know?
Yeah, no, I can't remember the story, but didn't someone said that they were just on the bench, just joked around with him about fighting someone, and he just jumped off the ice and like, where is he? They're like, just joking. Yeah, he knew his role, and I think he wanted the title, and so he fought. That was his job. He fought everybody, and that's. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, no, because you sound muffled on my side. So yeah, he fought everybody, and then he had those classic stories, and yeah, it's that he's a true heavyweight scrapping. And those. What's his measurements? What's the size of them?
Actually, that's a great question. I need to bring that up. But he was the number one fighter in Vancouver Canucks history, with some say it was 127 regular season fights. Some say it was 124, whatever you go. That's a lot of fights for one team. He had 149 total fights in his career. So 127 or 124 for Vancouver. That's amazing, because he would go toe-to-toe with anybody. He was not afraid of anyone, and that's what I like there. So I'll bring up his stats about how big he was. That's good to know. But, he was a big boy. I remember, Ben, did you go on that red-eye trip, and we went and watched the Canucks and Rangers? Were you a part of that group?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when we went there, we were teenagers back in those days. We do a red-eye trip to go down in the Rangers versus the Canucks. It ended up that the Canucks and Rangers played each other in the finals. We saw the regular season game. And I go to ice level, and I'm like, wow, Jeff Bukaboom is big. Trevor Linden's good size. And then all of a sudden it's Gino, and it's like, wow. I was just like, him and Bukaboom were like absolutely humongous human beings. And when you went down to ice level, you didn't really understand, because he was a 6'3", 224, but he looked like he was 250, when he was
those are big. Those are big measurements. That, like, even in today's age, Probert was like 6'4", that size. Ryan Reeves like that size. Those guys are big boys.
Yeah.
You see them, and those are like that's a perfect size for fighting, gladiator size, and got that Muhammad Ali frame.
Yeah, anything that's 230 plus pounds, that's
Yeah.
a big guy. Jeff Bukaboom was 6'5", 230. And then if you look at let's look at a guy like Ryan Reeves, today. Ryan Reeves is a big boy. He's 6'2", 225. So you got Gino is bigger than that.
Bigger, yeah.
And it kind of gives you a perspective on how big he is. So, I mean, just the crowd would chant Gino, 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 and it was like something special. Canuck fans are pretty famous for just like always cheering on their teams and like JT Miller, or now they're like Connor Garland. But it's like when it was that Gino chant, it was just like that place was buzzing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so many people would have him number one, and I would not argue with you if you have.
No, I wouldn't argue. Yeah,
number one, Gino. I get it. It was really hard. I had to really think hard and fast. So that just leads us to the last one, Ben. And Donald Brashear is my number one fighter, and the reason why is because he was actually the heavyweight champ of the NHL for a number of years. Nobody was better than him. And I remember when he was kind of going up the ranks of the fighting and the enforcer role, he just kept winning and winning. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden the buzz started happening in Vancouverland, like, man, like he might be the heavyweight champ. And I'll never forget those fights because he was a smart fighter, like you had already mentioned. He knew how to clutch and grab and hold the guys. And he was another southpaw. And he had mitts like on him, like his fists were just like they look like huge sledgehammers. And when he got that left hand free, it was lights out for people. And he would just feed them like 5 or 6 in a row. And then he would tie him up, and then he would and they would try to throw a couple punches, and then he got free with his right hand, and then went back to his left. I've never seen a Canuck player who's better. What were your thoughts and ideas about Donald Brashear when he was fighting?
Well, when you watch Probert's documentary, his wife was saying that when these guys came in, it was the Lennox Lewis Klitschko brother super heavyweight days. All of a sudden, they're just bigger guys, right? So these are the superhumans that are like Brock Lesnar size, like just these huge Vikings coming in as super heavyweights, and you're like, they were saying, Probert's wife was saying, and he was saying himself, he was taking steroids to try and keep up to these guys, and that's because Donald Brashear and some of these other George Laraque and all them. There was a point in time that Brashear was the champ, just like Probert was the champ for a long time. Brashear held that title, and I think the only time I remembered when I think he kind of potentially lost it was when he started fighting George Laraque, and they went even. You're like, what's going on? Oh, and they were like so cautious when they're fighting. I think George Laraque got him once, but then you watch, they probably fought like 15 times, right, on different teams and stuff too. And but yeah, for a point in time, Brashear, and that's why he's number one on our list. He was the toughest guy in the NHL and it wasn't just for a little bit; it was for years, in my opinion. He was the top dog, top of the food chain, an alpha predator.
Yeah. And I want to give a big shout out to Bleacher Report for some of the information I've been finding out. Hockeyfights.com, Bleacher Report. And there's a guy on Twitter named Adam Graham who did a thing. I want to use a quote of Adam Graham's. He said, standing at 6'3" and weighing in at 237 pounds during his playing days, Donald Brashear was in the league for one reason: to protect his teammates and beat the tar out of anyone who wanted to fight him. I mean, what? You can't get a better conversation on that. Now, Ben, one of the reasons as well is I had the privilege of going to some of those games back in those days, and I remember there was a young guy on the LA Kings who I was watching the Canucks versus Kings at, I guess it would have been Rogers Arena back in those days. still, wasn't it? I mean, Pacific Coliseum till when? I can't remember. But Rogers Arena, he's skating around, and there's this young guy on the LA Kings, and he pushes Brashear, and I literally hear him, like, I can read his lips and saying, "Let's go." And Brashear's like, "Get lost, you're a mosquito." You know what I mean? And it's like, and the guy was like pushing him again in the corner, and then the puck went the other way, and it went down, and that kid didn't stop, and he was like, "Let's go right now." And then Brashear's like, "Okay," grabbed him and fed him 3 in a row right to his face, like left-handed, 3 big bombs. And then I remember that the kid that grabs on for dear life, and they're wrestling around. And then he finally, Donald gets his left hand together, and I bet you it was 6 or 7 straight to the noggin, like teeth, everything, and knocks the guy down. The guy never played another shift on that game. He was out for the whole game. And it's like, bro, you wanted a shot at the title. You didn't, you were just a featherweight. You know what I mean? Like, some of these guys are trying to make a name for themselves, and Brashear's like, "Listen, man, I eat people like you for breakfast," you know?
Oh yeah. You don't get a shot at the title just like that. So that's the level that Brashear was on, right? You just guys will they're trying to, like, even maybe it's the guy's first NHL game, and he thinks he's not playing again. He's going to take a shot at Brashear, and Brashear's like, "Yeah, beat it. Like, this means nothing," you know?
Yeah.
So it's you could basically take those guys out fast.
Yeah. And then here's the other thing too that people don't understand. He played 4 full seasons and 2 partial seasons with the Canucks from 96 to 2001. During that time with Vancouver, he fought 83 times. That was 3rd highest on the Canucks list. So that's pretty impressive. You know what I mean? So,
well, and the other thing too about Brashear is, I think Brashear, our argument about him being our number 1 guy is that he was at his prime when he was on the Nucks, not when he was on like the Flyers or whatever. He was on, or did he play for the Capitals? Right, when he was on the Nucks, he was in his prime, and then and then his grabbing onto guys. At first, I was like, "What the heck is he doing?" And he sits there and he waits till he gets he thinks he's got a good advantage on you. So he sits there and works it. That would suck. You're like all of a sudden grabbed on by this anaconda, and you're like, "Oh," it'd be all frustrating. And then all of a sudden, once he starts throwing, he's throwing fast and hard. And there's like, sometimes it would be like 50 punches. And you're like, "Oh my God, someone just got murdered." You know,
"Excuse me, officer, I'd like to report a crime."
Yeah, well, but that's the thing is, some hockey fights you can actually be safe and not get hurt. Brashear, no, you have to worry about being hospitalized. You're like, "Oh no, you might not. You're going to get your orbital bones broken."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it was really like, I went and got this Bertuzzi jersey, right? And I love this jersey. It's awesome. But I would be very happy with the same one, and it was this Brashear jersey. That would be awesome as well. That would be pretty cool to get. Okay, we're going to dive into a couple comments for everyone. Just a reminder, everyone, if you haven't seen my other ones, I've done a playlist on my YouTube channel, so you can check out the top 10 forwards of Canucks all time, as well as the goalies. You could check out the defense. Obviously, we're doing the enforcers tonight, and then you can also check out the all-time Canuck lines. I do forward lines, defensive lines, and I believe I even do top goalie lines as well, backup and starter, if I remember correctly. So let's dive into some comments, Ben. There's a lot of comments. We got Callum in here, Gino, right? So he's saying what you said, pound for pound, Rick Rippon, definitely. He's just start listing all the guys. But some people I've talked to someone said Sandlak was a pretty big boy as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so I love that. Maria is in the building. Wow, nice shirt. Yeah, that's great. Hey, Maria, how's it going? let's just keep, like, some people want to talk about some of the big fights. Joey Kosher was scarier than Probert. I don't know about that. They were both crazy. But
Well, I can't remember one of our guys knocked out, not knocked out, but I think he like one punched Kosher. But yeah, impressive. I think it was like Darcy Hordichuk or something. You're like,
right.
Whoa, baby, yeah. So.
Japan 4 thought you had Triple H on, but no, it's Donnie Diamonds. He's here. Okay. So you want to play the game or whatever it says. Yeah. That's crazy. You thought he was Hunter. Oh, okay. Hunter Henry. Okay. So Craig Cox, baby. Let's go. Callum forgot about Rafi Torres. I mean, he had a huge list of people, but here's this one, Ben, and I think a lot of people would be surprised I didn't add him. And Green says Zadorov probably makes my top 10, and he only played 3/4 of a year here. And I don't know if I would have Zadorov, just because he just hardly had any fights. But if he would have stayed and did that contract, 100% would be in my top 10.
I don't know. Zadorov kind of didn't do as good in his fights as you thought he would, though, did you?
He was a better hitter for sure, but I think it's like people were intimidated. They didn't really want to drop the gloves with him. So
don't get me wrong. I don't want to get punched by Zadorov, but I heard some people before he came criticize him that he wasn't the greatest fighter, and then I saw him fight. There was a couple fights where he got the guy to his advantage, and you're like, "Ooh, Zadorov looked good." But then there was a lot of fights where I was like, Zadorov looks like he needs some boxing lessons.
Yeah,
I would put Zach Cassian ahead of him, but that's just me.
Speaking of boxing lessons, you sent me that information regarding Rick Rippon, and that's something that we should probably talk about. We should have brought it up. His dad was a Canadian boxing champion, and his second cousin was Shane Churla. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then who was it? He was
his
related
first
to
cousin.
But who is he related to? The NFL MVP?
Yeah, Super Bowl MVP Mark Rippon.
Yeah.
And he was also cousins to Denver Bronco Brett Rippon. Like, what a family.
Yeah, exactly.
That was amazing. I wish we would have said that during that time, but we're saying it now. So what's the difference? But
yeah. Oh yeah. That's the thing. I've seen guys hit the heavy bag and they were never in boxing class, and I'd be like, where'd you box? And they're like, I never did. My dad was a boxer and taught me. I'm like, oh, okay. You just learned in the basement. That's probably Rick Rippon, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Jafan 4 is with us. The Don Cherry Rock'em Sock'em Probert versus Cox fights were amazing. Angelo likes the snaps one. Angelo says that Big Bert can throw punches. I mean, sure. Just what he did with Stephen Moore just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, so I wouldn't put him in the top 10. But yeah, he was a big boy for sure. Yeah. I like the story of him fighting Fedorov, I think it was.
Yeah.
Berkey does tell some awesome stories for sure. Callum, like I said, go check out on YouTube Kirk Frazier, and you're gonna love that. Some people said, "Hey, Jovo Cop, Ben, what do you think about that one?"
Yeah, that's he's like the Bertuzzi type of argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Green says that Rippon fight against Hall was Will is my favorite by far all-time fight. Who throws body shots in the NHL? Rip does. Yep. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Green says Rip 1, Gino 2, rest can be in any order. I respect that. Rick Rippon was called, he's saying it equals Mighty Mouse. Did they call him Mighty Mouse? I don't think they did they?
I don't know. There's so many names. Who knows?
This one though, Ben, I'm not there. Don't forget Dan Cloutier. Listen, Dan Cloutier never got in fights as a Vancouver Canuck. He got in fights when he was the New York Rangers goalie, and him and Sammy Zello got in the fight.
Yeah, but he got in fights as a Canuck.
Nah,
You know what I'm saying?
rarely.
I forgot to mention Kluche. Kluche was one of the toughest SOBs out there, and you heard stories about him too, getting in street fights when he was coming up just as a prospect, not in the NHL. And then, well, yeah, when you see Kluche fight, but the problem with watching a goalie fight though is they have Kluche would get all his stuff off, right? And he's got no gear on and he's rolling around. So that gives you a big advantage, but he knew how to chuck him and he was throwing constant big haymakers and knowing how to chuck him. Kluche could definitely be on that list. I forgot about him. So,
yeah, I'm not there just because he rarely fought in a Canucks uniform, but I'll respect the fact that he was very tough. For sure. And I think the Kluche versus Sammy Salo, or is it Tommy Salo for the goalie fight? I said Sammy Salo. Tommy Salo of the Islanders. You can Google that one. YouTube search that one. Kevin says Gino Ojek for me. I remember him going after 4 or 5 guys on the Blues in the scrum, and he took 4 of them onto the ice. I think he went after like 7 or 8. You can do that one.
Yeah.
Sergio Momesso was an all-star a-hole. Wow, Callum. Tell us how you really feel. Jack loves Craig Cox. He's he's on my list for sure. Tortorella versus
yeah, it's true. It's definitely an honorable mention of that was like a Mr. Nielsen thing. He did that at one of our tournaments he ran to try and go.
We gotta clip this and send it to him.
Yeah.
Beer Baron says Brashear, Casket Brian, Brain. Sorry, my bad. Casket Brain says Tiger Williams, part of the 30, 300, and 3,000 club. I must be talking about penalty minutes and goals, and I don't know. What does this mean?
Yeah, it means he was in the penalty box a lot and fought a lot for sure. Yeah, that's
so 30 goals, 300 times in the penalty box, and 3,000 penalty minutes. I don't know.
yeah, something.
Callum says that Gino's going to be mad that he's not number 1 on the list. He's going to come out of the grave and get me. Okay.
Yeah, he could be number 1 on the list.
Totally. 100%. Yeah, sad though that he's gone too early for sure. And the Gino chance we already talked about. Green says Gino over Brashear, 100% for me. That's cool.
I'll say this: in their prime, who wins the fight? I think Brashear does.
Brashear wins the fight.
That's why Brashear is. I would put number 1 on that list because I don't think anybody can beat him up on that list.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Maybe that's why we think alike. So Canucks need the next Brashear. If you could get one fighter in the NHL right now to the Vancouver Canucks, Ben, who would you get, and would you buy his jersey?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd buy his jersey. One fighter. I don't know because I'm kind of, but I wouldn't mind having even some guy like Wi-Fi or someone like that. But
who?
Wi-Fi.
Who's that?
The guy on the Habs. His name's
yes.
But the Habs sometimes put him down and they don't play him, and you're like, man, I wish you could play him more. But he's definitely was the newcomer, and now he's a vet, and there's arguments though that different. There's probably the top. I don't know. There's probably top 4 guys, top of the food chain there.
Totally. And the one guy that I've been saying for the last number of years that I wanted on the team, and I wanted the Canucks to sign him when he was a free agent, was Ryan Reeves. And they didn't ever sign him. Like, listen, the amount of jerseys you would sell alone for Ryan Reeves in the Vancouver market. But now, because, he's on his way out, basically, he's not getting lots of playing time, I would pick Matt Rempe. I love that guy. I am not a New York Rangers fan, but I'm telling you right now, if the Canucks landed Matt Rempe, like when we traded JT Miller and got Rempe, I would have bought a Rempe jersey. That kid is not scared of anybody. He might lose the fight, but that's the guy people would pay to go see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he's just superhuman size too, and he's learning. You can tell that he's learning, so he's getting better as each year goes on for fights, gets more confidence, and he's not even grown into being a man yet, probably.
Right.
So think about that, right?
Crazy. Okay, Callum says that Gino saved his marriage. I think I've heard that story before. I need to ask him that. Sorry, that'd be a funny one that he could do right now. Angelo says McSorley and Brashear, they had some crazy tilts, and then it got awkward with a stick to the head, you know. So Andrew says, hope you're all well today. Of course, we're talking about the Canucks and we're talking about enforcers, whatever. Hey, Maria, thank you so much for noticing the hat. If you guys want a Kempner Canucks hat, listen, I've got merch, and you can just email me at kempnercanucks@gmail.com. And I've got this one, and I've got the black ones. These ones are absolutely gorgeous. Like, listen, they're snapbacks. You don't even have to worry about the size. Just email me. There's a good plug, eh, Ben? Good old Maria. White one.
No, I like the black one. The black one looks awesome.
Yeah, the black one is awesome. Coming to you for Christmas or something. Very nice. Anyways, just a reminder, if you want to buy one, KempnerCanucks@gmail.com. Here's another thing. Do you think Evander Kane can keep Hedl safe? Because, I mean, Hedl took that another concussion, and they bring in a big boy like Evander Kane. What do you think about that move? I don't think he's a goon, but I do think like he's a big boy to play with, right? Because he's 6'2", 218 pounds. What do you think about the addition of Evander Kane?
I think Evander Kane's one of the best skilled boxers on the ice, and he can fight with any big boy, and he will. So with a true goon, he could go toe-to-toe with him, which is great, but I don't think he'll keep Hedl safe. Hedl's either going to get another head injury or not. He's going to get slammed into the boards or not. It's like a Crosby situation. You can't protect that. You know, he might all of a sudden get body checked and his head hits the boards, and then all of a sudden it's the after effect now that he's got to protect them, and it's too late. He's already had one too many concussions. So unfortunately, fingers crossed with Hedl, but he's one more concussion and he's out. So hopefully he's just had enough. All it is he's got to have enough headrest, right? In between. That's what it is. It's not about an enforcer. And Kane in today's NHL is an enforcer for sure. He's great. I love that we got him. We got him on the tail end of his career, but I guarantee you this year is going to be hot for him. And he's going to be coming out there looking to prove, and he'll have a good year, I think.
Yeah, and if you go, I don't know how many fights he's been in his career, but where's the total here? I'm just going to hockeyfights.com.
Well, remember him scrapping Ryan Reeves? Oh, those are good fights.
Yeah, right here. 2019, Evander Kane, when he was on San Jose, fought Ryan Reeves when he was on Vegas. That's crazy. Evander Kane fought Zdeno Chara in 2019 as well. Like, he took on some big boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Kane, I think Kane's got some boxing background too. Like, he knows that. Yeah. He's been trained. But you know what? There's a lot of NHL players now that do, but it's Kane's more so.
He fought Brady Tkachuk in 2023. He fought. Oh yeah, we already talked about the Reeves one. Yeah. So, man, I'm gonna watch some of these after this thing's done. And we'll be sending each other videos of Kane fights for a while.
Well, I hope Kane stays on the Nucks for a while, right? Like, I hope he retires there and has some 3 seasons left in him of good hockey, right?
If he does, that means he had a great season this year with us. So that would be welcomed for sure. We need someone like that to do well. Okay, what about Daniel's comment? I hope Gary Lupul is on the list the way he manhandled Mario Lemieux. Do you remember that? I don't remember that.
No, I don't remember that. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Callum, don't you guys remember the record-breaking penalty minutes tilts against Philadelphia, tilts on New Year's Eve, like garbage cans on the ice, trainers brawling? I'm trying to remember. I went to 2 games at New Year's Eve. One was the Flyers with the Legion of Doom with Lindros, Leclerc, Renberg. They beat us 8-0. And then the next one is they beat us. I think they scored 2 with 2 seconds left and beat us 2-1. And it was Simone Gagne that scored. But I don't remember being at one. There was like so many fights that there was everything was on the ice. Do you remember that game?
Well, I think what he's talking about there, I think I've got there's a 15-minute Canucks highlight video, and there's like a huge brawl, and it might be against the Flyers, and that might be it. So yeah,
I just don't remember it. I mean, we're gonna have to Google this now. So
okay. Yeah, there's like a 15-minute reel of Canucks scraps, and then there's like 5 minutes you're watching just a straight brawl. So
Victor Mancini is 6'3", 215 pounds. I mean, that's a big boy because he's only how old is this guy? 23 years old. That's a good size. I mean, look at us. We've filled out since we were that age. So he could be a big man. And I think that's one of the guys that they were really with the JT Miller trade that Mancini needs to be in that thing. I thought they were going to go get Cooley instead of Hedl. But Mancini, what's your thoughts about Mancini?
I don't know. How long has he been playing?
Well, he's been playing for a few years. Let me just see here. He's played 2 seasons. No, wait a minute. 1 season. That was his first year in the NHL. I thought he had played 2 seasons.
How many games?
He played for the New York Rangers for 15 games, and he played for the Canucks 16 games. So I mean, he's got a lot of potential, that kid, for sure.
Yeah, I haven't watched him enough to know. Hopefully it goes well.
Yeah.
We need it. Oh, man.
Dreamer says Big Bert was a power forward, not an enforcer. I agree 100%. He should have never been trying to enforce and fight Stephen Moore. I'm very passionate about that. And doing the cheap shot from behind was not a good move. But Stephen Moore wouldn't drop the gloves, and then he just got frustrated. But it is what it is. Green, I chose Gino over Brashear mostly due to lore. In their primes, I probably agree. Brashear wins. I agree. Canucks Uncensored. Good to have you guys in the building. Totally thought number 1 to be someone else. Okay, well, who did you think it was going to be? Post in the comments. Kevin says we should have drafted. You must agree with this statement right here, right? Kashon, is that his name?
Yeah, I learned about him basically at the draft, and I started watching those highlights. I was like, oh my Lord, this guy looks like a hidden gem, and he's crushing guys, and he looks like a man. But then sometimes you realize how young this kid is still, so he's just going to grow into a beast. And so a lot of, not a lot, but there's certain people saying that he's a hidden gem in the draft. And yeah, I like who we drafted for sure. But who, like, I would definitely get pumped if we had that guy on our team. No getting around it. So it's gonna, and then what? He's playing with the number 1 first overall draft pick. Aren't they on the Islanders together?
I think so.
Come on, that's gonna be. I'll watch.
Let me just see. Where did he go? I forget. I remember, like, I was sold on how do you spell this? AIT. No, that can't be it. It just doesn't come up. I think it's spelt wrong. Hitchison. Oh, yeah. So he plays for the Barrie Colts. But where did he get drafted? Oh, my gosh. Anyways, Ben, you're gonna like this comment right here. I'll pick it up at Christmas. Thanks. Wants the hat.
Yeah.
Okay. Callum says, happy you picked Kurt Fraser out of the litter of Canucks goonery. You, sir, are a connoisseur of the dark arts of hockey.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good comment. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to find out where he got drafted. Where did he get drafted? Because that makes no sense. Is it Keyshawn? Is that how you say his name? Where did what now? The computer is like totally glitching. I think the kids are on. Oh, by the New York Islanders. You were 100% right. 100% right. Yeah,
so,
that Schaefer and him, like, wow. Did they just.
Yeah, on defense. So they got rid of Noah Dobson, who looks like a man. I just saw a picture of him today, and I was like, geez. At like a wedding or something, I'm like, that guy looks old. You're like, oh, that's Noah Dobson. So, but anyways, I can see why the Islanders made that trade, because look who they got coming down the pipe. But yeah, that's going to be crazy. The Islanders are a boring team. So their number one pick is like a Bobby Orr kind of hopeful, right? That guy's amazing, and for a prospect, and this other defenseman first round still drafted pretty high is going to crush guys. So it's going to be awesome.
Totally. Callum says, hey, Rev, want to do a meet and greet in Nanaimo this weekend, Saturday, Sunday? That could work. I have to check my schedule. I'll get back to you, Callum. I'd love to see you. Maybe Coach Rob and Shannon would want to come. Mark, maybe a few other people. It'd be a lot of fun. So I'll get back to you. I'll message you on that one. Not sure. Can't give you a definitive right on stream here, okay? So Sensei Dean, good to see you. I think it's a perfect name for the Enforcer show. So we have seen crazy brawls in Van for sure. I remember in Vernon in the old Civic Arena, a brawl in the stands. Woo! Canucks came there, and wow, I didn't know that. By the way, I used to live there, so I don't know. Why did I not hear about that? It must.
No, that I don't think he's saying that Van played there, but I remember in Vernon in the old Civic Arena. But he's just I think he's just talking about a brawl that occurred in the stands in Vernon. Yeah,
I've been to that old Civic Arena a number of times. My son played hockey there, and they said this was our number one arena. Now their arena is gorgeous. It was on the Cutting Edge reality TV hockey show that they did, the Vernon Vipers arena. It was the arena there, and it's really amazing. So he came late to this, but he liked Tiger. Oh yeah, Tiger. Who doesn't like him? And then Maria says that you're muffled now, so I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, doesn't matter. We're at the tail end. I think you've done a great job tonight. No, it was the players and the fans that fought from the old Civic Arena. Wow, that's awkward in Vernon. Good old Vernon. Vernon, BC. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much, Ben, for being here. Mr. Donnie Diamonds, perfect enforcer fighting name for the thing, and this is what you normally use when you come into the comments. So any last thoughts about any of the enforcers? Or let's do this. What was your greatest hockey fight of all time that you watched in the NHL?
Oh, I don't know. You know what? I won't get into that, but I'll say this. I was live at the ice when Zach Kassian came back from suspension and fought Matthew Tkachuk, and I was like front row, and I saw it all. That was probably my favorite hockey fight moment live. But I'd say, I don't know. I guess probably I knew when Probert was going to fight Domi again. I knew he was going to beat him, and sure did he. And that was all over the news before it was going to happen. So I'd say that one. I was so pumped for that fight. That was like a big moment in time, right?
Yep. Okay, so AI just put it in there. This is the ones that they say it's very subjective and it depends on personal preference, but some of the most memorable and highly regarded fights include PJ Stock versus Stephen Pete. That was a big, massive fight. I would agree with that one. I would say personally, it's the Ty Domi versus Bob Probert fights. Those were my favorite of all time. And then it also says Felix Potvin versus Ron Hextall. Two goalies going at it. And then the other one they say is Detroit Red Wings versus Colorado Avalanche. That rivalry was fierce. So, like, pick one of the games and you had it. That's an interesting one. And then the other one, the last one it mentions is Daniel Carcillo versus Derek Dorsett. That was a crazy fight as well. So,
well, that's going fast. Yeah.
Here we go.
So,
speaking of which, Callum says best brawls I've ever seen in the lower mainland were the junior brawls in the new Westminster Bruins arena. Wow. There you go.
Yeah, those would be tough. Anything in the West is where you're going to get tough hockey.
Absolutely. Sure. All right. We're going to head it out. Thanks so much for being here, Ben. Appreciate you. I'm going to hit the outro video. Thanks everyone for watching. Hit the like and subscribe. And I've got some videos that have already been queued up. I'm going to be posting them in the next couple days. So make sure you're watching for those as well. We're going to be talking about goaltenders, not top 10 all time. We're going to be talking about our dynamic duo of Demko and Lankinen. I filmed it while I was on vacation in Williams Lake, British Columbia. You're going to like this one, Ben. So that's going to be going live real soon. I got to make a thumbnail for it first, and then I'm gonna get it going probably for tomorrow or Friday. So yeah. So anyways, have a great night, everyone. And of course, always go Canucks go.
What?